Hello guys, welcome to Expo Now for this segment of Heritage Highlight. I have a special guest, of course, Mr. Nicholas Jamerson. Appreciate you joining me.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me.
You took the trip and you appreciate you talking with us. Now you're going to be one of our guests for Main Street Live. Tell me about that. What are you excited to be a part of that this year?
Yeah, it's my first time getting to play out on the Billy Johnson stage. So, yeah, as a longtime performer in Pikeville, it's nice to have a new experience playing music. So I'm looking forward to it.
Tell me what you're actually focusing on as far as with your performance. What kind of music are you going to throw at the folks? I
don't know. I guess that's a long time from now.
It
so
is.
We'll see when we get there. But I've been playing with a lot of local acts here recently. Everybody's kind of been doing it together the last 2 years or so. So I know David Prince. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Laid-back country picker, and Hayden Miles of the band. Wayne Graham from over in Whitesburg. They're going to be with me, and then who knows?
So you actually tell me about the process. A lot of people are curious. Like, you write your own songs.
Right.
What kind of process does that take? What goes into that? Like, I'm not a songwriter. I'm curious.
I kind of look at it like it's putting a puzzle together. The completion of the song is, the completion of the puzzle, and a lot of times I'll just start out with a phrase, just of words randomly, and then just try to build around that usually.
For different songs, is it different time frames? I mean, is that...
Like, what do you mean?
As far as like with your lyrics, you put this song together, say you could put a song together in a day. Have you ever had a song that's like, oh, well, I'm going to work on this for a couple weeks, or... Yeah,
I mean, it's like I just try not to force it too much. I heard Willie Nelson, and I'm paraphrasing, it was just like, if it's not easy, then it's not. Like, basically, if it's not coming out easily, then don't force it.
Okay.
I think that there is a side to it that you have to sort of push through walls, creative, walls, but yeah, I mean, I've had songs or chord progressions, like it's not always built around just lyrics, but sometimes around chord progressions. So sometimes I'll play chord progressions I've had chord progressions for years and been like, nothing's working, and then one day the right words come and you piece it together and it just works. So
what is your factor for your, let's just say your creative genius? What is that factor? What makes you go to that place?
I mean, ultimately I just feel like it's just connection to myself, and if it's coming from a true place, then I just kind of follow that, and sometimes it's serious and concrete, the idea, and sometimes it's just words that are just flowing through me, just random thoughts that I don't really know what they mean. It's just, I just try to not think about it too much. If it feels good, then just kind of follow it. Yeah.
Does it help to be back home? Does back home help you?
Yes.
Kind of get in your creative
Absolutely,
mindset?
because it connects me to who I really am. I feel like I live in the woods now, and it's like it's very peaceful, and
Yes.
There's not so much noise from the outside world that's pulling me away from my center. And if I can be centered, then it's a lot easier to create that way.
And that's one of the questions a lot of people ask. They want to get in the head of a songwriter and just kind of figure out what makes them do what they do.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a shift in my creative, the things that I'm creating since being home the last 2.5 years. So it was which is a good affirmation to just follow, for me, to just follow my own self, my intuition. So it's led me back here. So
you can't beat that. Well, let me ask you a question. You look back, when you get to be an old man, you're not old now.
I feel old.
I'm almost 30. Let's not go there.
I'm going to be 33, so
well, we're
30
right
is a problem. So when I turned 30, that messed with me.
It scares me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Well, you're like, I'm an adult.
Yeah.
I'm an adult now.
Yeah, it scares me. So you've got that in the back of your head. Yeah. When you're older, we'll say you're 70 years old.
Yeah.
And you're looking back on your life. What is that one milestone that you're like, wow, I did this?
Getting to play the Grand Ole Opry at the Ryman Auditorium, that's one thing that I'll always look back and just be kind of like pinch myself, because just growing up around here and, you know, starting out playing over here at Champs, you know, and I never even dreamt of that. You know, I never thought of that as even being a possibility, and getting to play that, and then getting to play the Ryman the second time and opening up for the Steve Miller Band, that was a pretty...
That's awesome.
So, but you know, it's like those will stand out, but just getting to play music for a living in a world that, you know, just the world that we live in, to get to play music and really do something that I really love. I'm really trying to just, I try to be as present in that fact as I can, you know, because that's such a blessing and such a gift of a life.
Stay humble.
Yeah, because it's like, and it's a crazy world, and there's a lot of things that happen that you don't always get to do what you really want to do.
You've traveled all over the world, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, you've been everywhere.
I've been a lot of places, so.
Nothing like back home though, right?
No, you know, and I like being grounded here. I still love to go and see and bring what I feel like the spirit of Eastern Kentucky in particular, to get to spread that throughout the rest of the world. Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It gives you chills thinking.
Yeah, it really does.
That's neat. Let me ask you a question. So you've got a artist coming up, young kid, wants to learn from you. What advice would you tell that person? What advice would you wish that you had when you were coming up?
Wow, that's a good question. I would say it's like you're never going to know more now than your older self will, and you just have to kind of have faith in yourself and your heart to follow whatever it is you feel like is best for yourself, and just kind of remain open and not just look at every experience that you have as a lesson. Not everything's going to go how you want it to go, but pay attention to how it did. Just always pay attention, so then you can learn and then sort of redirect the path. You know, as an artist, it's such a hard life because you're basically it's like a business. You know, you're a small business owner.
You're at the fans' mercy too.
Yeah, you are. I mean, yeah, you are. You know, I guess it just depends what people want out of it. You know, if they want to make a living, it's like you just better be ready to work. And I would say, I've always looked at as my songwriting as like, that's like my currency. Like I really need to just work on songs. And I think that's the most important thing, because if you're creating your content, then nobody can ever take that away from you. And
belongs to you.
Right, it belongs to you, and you can't be manipulated or dictated, you know, because it's you know, in arts, in music, you know, commercial music too, it's like a lot of people, they get in this place where they're relying on other people to, you know, write songs for them and give them songs. And I've just always felt like if you can just create your own thing and really put yourself into it, you know, take the time to really work on your craft, it's like,
that's you then.
Yep.
That's your baby.
Yep. So just be patient. It's like, I think that we're all, like, you don't get to this point in your life, you know, it's like I got to play the Grand Ole Opry, but it's like you still have to keep going. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't believe that, I just don't, there's no like sort of, I grew up in sports, and it's like, you know, there's championships, mm-hmm. and you win, and then it's like, well, okay, I've done everything I can do, and it's like, that's just not how life works. So it's like,
keep going.
you have to, yeah, you got to keep, it's a journey. It's never ending. A life's work takes a life to do, so.
Let me ask you another question. A lot of people are kind of curious on this question. Your mentor. Everyone usually has a mentor growing up. Who was yours?
Musically, or just?
Just overall. Who inspired you to be Nicholas Jamerson?
My grandmother was a huge influence on me. She passed away this past December, and it's, you know, life is so precious. It is. And it just really opened my eyes to what's always there in life. You know, I don't want to. There's so many people that I love at such a deep level that I don't want to have to lose them to understand the gravity of how much I care about them. So losing her kind of opened my eyes to all that. But she was just she was a Renaissance woman. She just did so. She did so much, and I guess playing, like, she really encouraged me to play music in a different way than anybody else had. It was just like, you know, because playing music isn't. You tell your parents you want to play music for a living, and you know, parents just worrying about their kids. It's like that's not always the. It's not always the most practical way to go, but my grandmother just, she made it, I guess, she played music, just like my mom did. My mom did too, you know, but my grandmother just did a lot of different things that made...
Did she make you appreciate it more, would you say?
I don't know, she was just really, she just gave me the opportunity to make the decision for myself,
That's
you know?
important.
Yeah, because I think for me, always growing up, it was just like, I don't want to be told what to do. I don't think that anybody really likes to be told what to do.
Another advice for kids going up too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to listen to what people say, but you just have to ultimately do what's right for you. And she created that space, that safe space for me to just be whatever I wanted to be. And, you know, just growing up, there was always music at her house. There was like, it was just like people from the community, they would just sit around and play. And I think that humans, it's like once you can see, if I can see it and feel it, then it becomes real to me. And I kind of I can understand how it works. So then I can kind of figure it out how to make it work for myself,
Yeah.
you know. Another person that was really a big influence in that way, a guy named Alan Cormier from Johnson City. I'd grown up around great musicians, but I'd never really been around a ton of songwriters. And to, you know, because it's just like, I think that you grow up and you feel like, you see people on TV and you feel like that's something, like you can't be that. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like superheroes or aliens, or they're,
Yeah,
it's like,
it's not real.
I think, yeah, but when you see someone flesh and blood, you're like, well, that's real, and they're a human too, and whatever they possess, you know, I should be able to like do that too. So he made songwriting real for me, and I guess that's when I started to understand the process, and like, well, he's writing songs. I think I could do that too. And I met him when I was 19, 20 years old, and I've just been writing songs ever since, and just writing as much as I can, and it's just become part of me. It's like I don't ever go anywhere, and I'm not
breathe without it.
Yeah,
Right?
really. I mean, it's just like, because I just feel like life gives us so much to be inspired by every day, and that's where I just come from when I'm writing, is just from the experiences I'm having and my perspective of life. And we all have a perspective and a story to tell, and nobody is like, we're living in the same world. I was writing yesterday, and it's like we're all living in the same house, but we're all looking through different windows.
That's really
You know,
cool. I like that.
and it's so true. We all have a different perspective and a different story to tell, because we all go through different things that create our reality. And that's why I'm just like, I just encourage people to write, because it's like nobody can tell your story like you can tell your story. And if you're really open and honest with yourself and will just give it fully, then it's going to be unique.
You have to just pour your soul out, it sounds
Yeah.
like, to actually just, does that make you, let me ask this, when you're pouring your soul out and you're putting all this on paper, does it ever make you like, I don't know, like scared that
Yes.
you're putting this out
Yeah,
there?
I'm like, am I crazy? Am I a crazy person? Like, am I the only one experiencing that? But
How do
again,
you overcome that though?
you just have to have faith in what you're doing, that it's coming from a good place, and whatever you have to share, you know, I just feel like there's a universal truth that just speaks to that just speaks to people, you know, and you just have to have faith in that. And
you have to find your way, it seems like, you know.
Yes.
So, and it sounds like you found your way, and also sounds like that you've had good motivation. It seems like that your family has pushed you.
They have.
Not pushed as far as helped you with the process of being what you want to be.
They've grounded me, you know, in the right things. I feel like in love and just the true spirit of life, God, you know, just growing up in church and things like that. It's really grounded me in what and just to be able to know who I am and what's real to me. So.
Well, I know you play with your family. I know your family is really big with music
Yeah.
and into. What's it like playing on stage with your family? What's
Man,
that like?
it's just overflow of love, and just like you think about, when I think about my true, like, just the deepest part of me, it's my family. It's when you're a child and before the world gets a hold of you, and you know, because life can be painful.
It can.
It is painful.
It is.
It's not that it can be, it is, but it's not always. But learning how to not be overcome by that pain is the trick. And you know, you can't be the same person that you were, because life changes you. You know, experience changes you, and
So you see yourself as from where you were young to where you are now. You see how those experiences have changed you.
yeah, but they connect me to that part of my life that cannot be touched.
Yeah.
You know, that pure center of the soul that's untouchable. It's like that's what that feels like playing with them. It's like that connection that we have to each other is stronger than anything. It's the deepest connection. Family, it's like that's what life to me is about.
Exactly, and I'd say
Is that experience.
That on being on stage is just it seems like that would be a relief
Yeah.
for you. That's like, oh, I've got my family here. I'm gonna give it all that I have.
Yeah, we can just feel what it feels like, and but we're celebrating life in that moment. It's like playing music. That's great. That's awesome. Such a gift. And then to get to experience that with people that you share DNA with, you know, it's like that's just the deepest experience that, you know, besides probably having a child.
That's like,
Yeah, I mean, that's, man, and I just think that is the purpose. Having those sort of experiences for me is what life is about. It's not about, you know,
the fame and fortune.
well, yeah, and just, you know, we all have to worry about, one thing we all have to worry about is like money and things like that, and how we're going to make money, and that's what consumes so much of our time and so much of our life, is how are we going to make enough money to have enough time to live. You know what I'm saying? Like to make enough money to have a house. And
how are you enjoying the things that you have because you're always focusing on that next dollar?
Right, and that's the balance that I think that we all struggle with is finding. That's something that we have to survive, but also like it's not really real. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's something that we as a society created, you know, that's how we're going to operate. But man, when you're with family and you're really present in those sort of, it's like that's what life's about right there. That is what.
That's your center. That's what makes you happy.
Yep. So it's just the greatest thing ever to get to experience that with them. And when we were young, we're a little bit more spread out in age, so we didn't really get to experience that a lot as kids. I'm the oldest, and my sister's 16 months apart, and we sang some in church, but then my middle brother, he's 4.5 years younger, and
Kind of spread.
my youngest brother, who I play with the most, we're almost 8 years apart. So, you know, when I graduated high school, he was 10 years old.
Yeah.
So, and I wasn't ever back in the house. So I was out doing this, you know. So
He's getting to see. He's getting a taste of it.
yeah,
Now.
Well, that's I just feel like the point of me, of all that, was so I could go out and sort of learn what I've learned, and then I can come back, and now we can apply everything that, all this experience and knowledge into what we're doing now and try to steer the ship accordingly.
There you go. There you go. Now I know that, like we mentioned before, you're going to be here August the 3rd with your own writings, your own music,
Yeah.
what you're going to do. Probably have your family with you.
Yeah.
Hopefully too. That'd
Yeah.
be awesome. What's next for you besides that? Before we get into August 3rd, what's coming up for you?
Well, locally, I'll be at Bank 253 June 8th,
Okay.
and that'll probably be with some of my siblings.
Okay.
I'm just
Hit you up on Facebook.
yeah, definitely Facebook
events.
and Instagram, and there's an app called Bands in Town
Yeah, I
that
love
you
Bands
can
in Town.
yeah, you can register. You put your stuff on there, and you can kind of get an update with people in your area.
Definitely follow Nicholas Jamerson. Definitely like
Yeah.
his stuff. Check him out if you haven't. Great talent. Let me ask you another question. This is a deep question. We've gotten pretty deep.
Yeah,
with this. So let me ask you this. All said and done, we'll all go eventually. You know
Yes.
that. What do you want them to say about you? What do you want kids growing up, the next generations of musicians? What do you want them to say about you?
That I inspired them to be the best they could be, and to believe in whatever dreams that they had for themselves, and that hopefully I made it real for them, and they whatever they saw in me, they saw in themselves. And
Awesome. That's a great answer. I know there's a lot of kids coming up, especially in the Prestonsburg area, Pikeville area, all the surrounding areas. If they ever have advice, shoot you a message on Facebook, ask you.
that's what I feel like my purpose is being here. Just as with my siblings, it's like I've been gifted a lot in this life, and here I am now. I just want people to understand that I'm a real person, and I grew up the same way that people around here, and
Talk to you like a real person.
yeah, and they possess the same gifts that we all have.
Just got to let them out.
Yeah, you just got to let it out and believe. Belief, that's what I feel about songs. It's like all it takes is belief in words to make it into a song. You can write a song about anything. I have a song about a guy that works at a rest stop area,
I've actually heard that song.
Yeah, Abe, and it's like, yeah, that sounds kind of strange, but it's like, it's just a story.
Yeah.
It's just like, and that's all any of it is, and all we all are, we're in a position, I think, as humans to create our own story if we're consciously, not caught up in just the craziness of the world. And yeah, that's why I'm here. I want to be a bridge between people, because I'm lucky enough to come across so many different groups and just see so much that it's like, there's so many, everybody wants, there's so many people that are talking about the same things, but they don't always know who to talk to,
Spread out.
how to connect the dots to make it all work. And I just truly feel like that's part of my purpose of
You
being
can
here.
provide that experience.
Yeah,
and
and perspective,
knowledge.
and just encouragement, because it's like,
Some kids don't get that.
no, I think that it's so easy just to look at other people and think about what you're not, because we, just societal, we look at the Kardashians and that's the
norm.
That's the norm, and it's like, no, that's just who they are. But what you possess is something that is just as great and just as beautiful. We don't have to be anything other than what we are.
Be yourself.
And that's enough,
Yeah.
and that's enough. And
I agree.
we have I think that, growing up here, you got to be creative to just live and survive. That's what I think our region is kind of going through a shift right now with the exit of coal. Is like we're having to sort of reevaluate how we're living our lives economically and just our strategy going into things. And I just think, it sucks what's happened, but it's also a really exciting time because it's a blank slate and we can create
Open your eyes to
whatever,
new ventures.
whatever we're open to, we can create. And I just want to be here to help and push that along any way I can. So
Well, You're doing a great job, and we appreciate you. And so we're looking forward to him. April 3rd, you'll be on Billy Johnson.
August 3rd, yeah.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
August 3rd.
Going back in time.
I'm going back in time. August 3rd, he'll be here on the Billy Johnson stage for Main Street Live. Check out the lineup. Check him out on Facebook, Instagram. You can get all your events, everything that's coming up. Check him out there. He's gonna play some songs for you. I'm gonna stop asking questions. Stop making him think too much right now. Let him play a couple songs. Until next time, I'm Josh Kessler. You're watching Expo Now. Nicholas Jamerson.
This song's called Young Man. I released Star City Sessions Volume 2 on iTunes last year, and here we go. Well, there's just some songs a young man can't write. A pen of experience is delivered only in time. You don't sing about driving when you ain't seen the road. You don't pull up your flowers while there's still room to grow. Yeah, I know what I know, and that ain't a lot. Yeah, my grass is much greener than my older self's plot. You can't buy a saddle for a horse you ain't got. Yeah, I know what I know, and that ain't a lot. Well, I'm just a verse that ain't found the words, just chords and a melody. Sometimes those things come first. But if I keep going, I know I'll get there someday. I'll be part of a song that someone likes to play. Yeah, I know what I know, and that ain't a lot. Yes, my grass is much greener than my older self's plot. You can't buy a saddle for a horse you ain't got. Yeah, I know what I know, and that ain't a lot. I'm still navigating my way through this world. I've been down in the creek bed and up in the trees with the squirrels. I don't have no directions, I'll make it up as I go. Wade in the water is the only way that you know how deep to go. Yeah, I know what I know, and that ain't a lot. Yes, my my grass is much greener than my older self's plot. You can't buy a saddle for a horse you ain't got. Yeah, I know what I know, and that ain't a lot.